Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review of the Steven Seagal directed video movies. And this time we're reviewing of the 2012 one of Maximum Conviction, starring Steven Seagal and wrestler Stone Cold Steve Austin. Of course, me hear my dog barking again. And once again, it's directed by Keoni Waxman, who's directed several of these recent Steven Seagal directed video films. And I gotta say, watching, because I haven't watched this film in a while, so I mean, first of all, Keoni Waxman, he started directing the ones was starting with The Keeper, which I thought it was alright, average, right? A Dangerous Man was, like I said, I didn't honestly overall care for. But it was just there. But but then he directed other ones with Steven Seagal, from Force of Execution to Good Man, Absolution, Contra to Kill, End of the Gun, Cartels. And he also directed another Steve Austin film before Maximum Conviction, was one called Hunt to Kill. And actually, that one I did like, Hunt to Kill. That's one of the best Stone Cold Steve Austin films I've seen. Hunt to Kill. And also with Stone Cold Steve Austin, there's a couple of other films that I did like him in. There was one called I know, like I said, Hunt to Kill, I think, is one of my favorite one of his. Tactical Force, I think I liked, and The Package. Of course, his role his role as Eric Roberts' bodyguard in The Expendables, which was also, like I said, in the same year where they were starting Hunt to Kill. Also Hunt to Kill, because also Eric Roberts is in that as well. Of course, the whole fight with him, Randy Couture and the Expendables, I didn't like the whole fact when he was set on fire was bad CGI effect when Steve Austin was burning up. That was a bad CGI fire effect. Of course, he had a role in one of the guards in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. The Stranger, I did not like. The one he was in. The Stranger I didn't like. The Condemned sucked big time. I hated The Condemned. But Hunt to Kill, Tactical Force, The Package, I did not mind those. I like those ones. Well, I think the Hunt to Kill was the best one for Steve Austin. But I thought he did a pretty good job in this one too. Because I liked his character. I mean, he had some pretty funny lines of dialogue in there. And some of the action bits that he does, I thought was pretty good. Steven Seagal, now with Steven Seagal in this film, I would say performance-wise, I mean, I don't think I noticed any fight doubles or bad dubbing ADR in this film. So I can say that's a plus as well. I mean, his performance in this film, I can say, is far much better than some of the previous ones he's done. I mean, he's done a whole lot worse. I mean, like I said, up from The Foreigner, Out of Reach, Today You Die, Black Dawn, Shadow Man, Attack Force, Submerged. So much, you know. Against the Dark. He has done so much worse. Compared to this performance, you could probably say this is one of his better performances that he's done for those shitty ones. But of course, and yes, I also did like this film. Now, like I said, once again, like compared to his Steven Seagal's golden films, nowhere near. But for the directed video ones he's done, decent, you know. Although, I will also say Urban Justice I liked better. Pistol Whipped I liked better. Now, would I put this above Into the Sun? I know I like this better than The Keeper. maybe I would say I put this slightly above Into the Sun. More I think about it now. So yeah, you say so. Urban Justice, Pistol Whipped, this film, The Keeper, Into the Sun, and then The Keeper. So yeah, you can say like five. Okay, as of right now, 5 of the Steven Seagal direct-to-video films I liked. Well, a couple of The Keeper is not a rant, so you could probably say I did like it, but didn't love it. It's not great at all though. But if it's not a rant, then you see it's a overall I did kind of like. So The Keeper. So you can see one hand of Steven Seagal's direct-to-video films I did like. But although sadly though, one of the issues I have with the film that Steven Seagal and Steve Austin, they're not in the film together a whole lot. Maybe I would say at most they're together like 5 so minutes at most. Because most of them they're just separated from each other though, but together they were like 5 minutes at most. So that's kind of a bit of a disappointment, you know what I mean? Yeah, it says here the 2 Stevens together at last, right? But interesting enough, there's special features on here. I mean, there's audio commentary with executive producer director Keoni Waxman and co-executive producer Bing Dang. Maximum Convention, the behind the scenes, working with legendary action stars, interview with actor Steve Austin, and also an interview with actor Bren Foster, who's in this as well as I think was he one of the inmates as well. And it shows and the guy Bren Foster, I thought he was pretty decent as well. He shows he can do looking up, I think he did Taekwondo. I think he does. I think he does. I think that looking up the guy, I think he does Taekwondo. And it shows he's a decent martial artist, because later he would later star with also another Steven Seagal's film called Force of Execution, where he was like very more the lead in that movie. So, but I thought the guy Brent Foster was decent. The bad guy in this film was played by Michael Pare, which he's been. He was been some other ones. He was been in the Philadelphia Experiment from the '80s one and the 2012 sci-fi version of the Philadelphia Experiment. He was also this. I think he was a star in Eddie and the Cruisers. If I got that right. Yeah, Eddie and the Cruisers. I think he was pretty much the star in that film. He was in John Carpenter's Village of the Damned. But then he would later star in a lot of Uwe Ball's movies, which I like Michael Pare, but I forgot this. He was also in Bad Moon as well. Was he in? I think it was in Bad Moon. Was he in Bad Moon? It was the one with the werewolf of my life from 1993. I think it was. Yeah. Oh no, it was 1996. Yeah, Bad Moon. Yeah, I think I like Bad Moons. Yeah, but as I was saying, Michael Pare, but he later stars in a lot of Uwe Boll's shitty movies. I mean, from Blood Rain. I mean, even in the sequels. I mean, Alone in the Dark Part 2. Although he was on Rampage, that's like the only one of the only decent Uwe Boll films he's done. Uwe Boll. I like Rampage. No, not the 2018 Rampage video game film with Dwayne Johnson. Another Rampage film. The Uwe Boll version ones. But But he's a bad guy in this film. I mean, compared to all the villains I've seen from Steven Seagal's past direct-to-video villains in these movies, I mean, Michael Pare, I mean, he's there as the bad guy. I like him, though, but he's just not much. Because, like, a lot of direct-to-video Steven Seagal films, villains are not memorable at all. A lot of times they're just pretty much forgettable in one ear out the other. But for some of the action stuff that happens in this film, I thought were very decent. For instance, like when Steven Seagal has a decent moment where he fights with one guy, and actually when he when he breaks a guy's arm, and then we see like a little, I think it was like a little bone, we can see a kind of like pop out. I was like, ooh, you know. And he does get a funny line of dialogue where it did make me chuckle, where he says, I think he said like, it went like, stop being such a pussy, you know. It's kind of like what, I think what Arnold said in End of Days, when he accidentally shut Kevin Pollak, you know, when he's like, stop being such a pussy, you know. Kind of like, it was kind of like some of that scenario, but it did make me laugh, you know. So, but and Stone Cold Steve Austin, like he says some funny lines of dialogue too, like the beginning where, you know, the thing was like his commanding officer is like says like, hey, shut up, and Steve Austin goes, negative, I will not shut up. Or another instance you growing about the with the bad woman who was actually working with Michael Pare, and she says fuck F you to Steve Austin, and he's like, call me. I forgot he did do this, but he says, call me. Or later when the evil woman dies and he's going around, like, he goes, hey, which one of you motherfuckers killed my future ex-wife? So so Steve Austin, he had some a decent lines, a dialogue that did make me laugh in this. And whatever the action he does, I thought was pretty good as well. Or where he does like with a knife, he goes I think it was like was it like this? He stabs one guy, was decent enough. Or another instance, we does the same thing, but goes right through the chin. Another decent one. Or the instance where he takes a spray can, makes it into a flamethrower, I liked. Or, which I like the idea of this, but it was poor executed because he does it with a propane tank and froze it, and then made it since a flying and it explodes like the one guy, and it's a bad CGI fire effect, and that was bad, you know. I mean, I like the idea behind it, but it was poor executed with bad CGI fire. That was very like cheap sci-fi budget fire. But I said I like the idea behind it though. Or and then some shoot. They mostly got some shootouts as well in the prison. But like I said, the point is, well, not the point, but I feel like like I said, it did start kind of slow to get going. And a lot of times, them just wandering around trying to get from point A to point B to get the courier woman. I think it was kind of lagging at that point though. But and by the end with Steven Seagal fighting Michael Pare, it wasn't much, sadly though. But I mean, like I said, I've seen a whole lot worse fighting action sequences. I mean, at least it was no fight doubles that I saw with Steven Seagal, because a lot of times he's just lazy and don't want to do his own fight scenes. Oh, there has been some where he does it on his own though, but still, like, either when he does it, when it's a fight double, you don't see Seagal's face, and either the guy is either slimmer than Seagal or different hairstyle, you know. But I mean, also, it's another thing. I think it was a little bit on. I think it was like a little bit of shakiness. I think it was, or with the wide angle. You know, get some wide shots. You know, and there was some wide shots though. But I think it felt like a little bit too shaky. I think it was. I mean, like I said, I'm not being harsh on the film though. But like I said, I think, like, still Steve Austin, I think he was more the star of it than Steven Seagal actually was for me, you know, because I thought he had more funny lines and some better action bits that he does in the film. I mean, Steven Seagal, like I said, he wasn't that bad in this movie. He does say a couple of lines I did like and chuckle, some decent fight scenes he does, like broke that guy's arm, like I said, and I thought it was like handled better than some of the previous than a lot of the previous ones I've seen, you know, and I mean, like I said, I've seen worse. I mean, I've seen a whole lot worse, and believe me, I've been reviewing all these Steven Seagal direct-to-video movies, and how much of a toll has been taken on me. But the thing is, though, I keep on persevering, though, because, you know, I knew probably one day that I would eventually want to review all of his direct-to-video movies. You know, I'll eventually review. I did review some of his from the past. So like I just. Started this, I did review Marked for Death, and I think I did review one of his other ones. I forgot which one I just did now. Oh, Fire Down Below. But I'll have to redo on some of the other ones I to catch up, like Under Siege, because I'll do like the theater movies he did for theater releases, you know. Although I hated Ticker and The Patriot, so I'll have to eventually do those. Those are director videos as well. But as of now, I was doing the main start of it, like from 2003 with The Foreigner, and then up till now. I've been reviewing all of his movies though. But like I said, Urban Justice. The best ones I've seen was Urban Justice, Pistol Whipped, and then I'll probably put it as this a third one. Then Into the Sun, and then The Keeper. But yeah, and also for the mention about Bren Foster, like I said, yeah, he does Taekwondo. Yeah, it says it's on here. He does Taekwondo. He's a world champion Taekwondo. I thought he was very decent in this film as well. Like, it shows a little bit of his martial arts, you know, which we'll see more later in the next one, like The Force of Execution. But and also the end of the film, it kind of led us to think they were going to lead a sequel to this, which they never fell through. I mean, Force of Execution has 2 other sequels after that. I'm like, how that gets 2 other sequels, you know? Because I guess there was one with a good man. There was Absolution. So I don't know how that got 2 sequels, but they try to make it like this. They try to make a sequel to this though, but that never happened. I mean, honestly, I prefer a sequel to this than the other ones, though. So Keoni Waxman, I think he did an improvement over A Dangerous Man and The Keeper, you know. But he later does more ones like the ones after this. But yeah, I mean, like I said, maximum conviction. Like I said, positive. Like I said, Steven Seagal. I think he was not that bad in the movie in this film. He tries to do more of that whispering he does though, but still, I mean, he was more tolerable here than some of those previous ones I've hated. Like I think it's more like Steve Austin. I liked. I think he was more the main, the one I got more into than Seagal though, because he had more funnier lines and then better action scenes he does. I mean, Michael Pare I like though, but I think his villain was not like all the previous ones. It was not very memorable though. But like I said, some of the pacing I thought was it says 98 minutes though, but I think some things could have picked up the pace a little bit more, get more things going. Instead of most of them they're just wandering around the prison and then when it's getting slow to get started though, but the film I actually overall Maximum Conviction I actually did like. So yeah, I can say of another Steven Seagal film that I actually thought was decent, not great. I didn't love it though, but it was another decent one. So, I mean, if I was to make the list, like I said before, Urban Justice would be here, then Pistol Whips, then I would probably put this there, and then Into the Sun, and then The Keeper. So yeah, so you can say, like, a handful of films I have right here that of Steven Seagal's movies I kind of liked. I do like it, you know. But this is another decent one. Like, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hunt to Kill, I liked, of his ones, I think I liked the best of his. I mean, yeah, I know, and I know. Oh, funny thing is, though, I know he's like more of a rage, foul mouth type of guy, though. But I think he had to tone it down and do more stuff like this. Probably because he didn't want to act too goofy and over the top, though. But I mean, I get that, you know, kind of stretch out more of your acting instead of being like your usual self, though. But I mean, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin, and let him do more of that enraged personality, you know. But I get what they're meaning, though. But yeah. But yeah, Maximum Conviction I thought was another decent Steven Seagal film. Oh, like I said, I would love to see more of them together in the movie though. That's another issue I have. They were in like 5 minutes total together, but I wish they could have seen more of them together. But compared to the other stuff I've seen, like I said, I've seen a whole lot worse. Believe me, I reviewed pretty much up until now. I reviewed all of them. But yeah. But that's my review on Maximum Conviction. I thought it was another decent one. So yeah, this is another one that's not a rant. Yay! But then I can follow up with even more, jeez. But yeah, that's Maximum Conviction. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next movie review and more to come, and we'll see you next time. Later.